And good afternoon, everybody, or should I say bad afternoon, as it is NFL Week 1. This is a special, unannounced edition of Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land. I'm Ethan Greenberg, and joining me here this afternoon is my Browns buddy, Jacob. Jacob, thank you for joining this afternoon for this unannounced edition of Going nuCLEar. If you are watching right now, let all your friends know. Wanted to give some quick takes here as the Cleveland Browns fall in Week 1 to the Cincinnati Bengals by a final score of 17-16 in a game that who beat who here? The Browns clearly beat themselves. I mean, Jacob, what were your initial takeaways from today's game?
I think there was three main factors that went into us falling short. First one was the deflected balls for the interceptions. We had trouble today, and that goes to my second point. The dropped passes on that one drive on 3rd and 4th down that caused a turnover on downs. We had trouble catching the ball. And whether it was deflected for an interception or dropped turnover on downs, it was not good, and we left points on the board because of that. My third and final point is kicking. Lost by one, missed one extra point. So that would have taken us to overtime, and we are still lost because another missed field goal.
Yeah. I think that's an excellent point there. You look at the box score, and I was shocked at this, Jacob. The overall yardage, the team stats. Let's take a look here. The Cleveland Browns, Joe Burrow, 14 of 23, 113 yards. Joe Flacco, 31 of 45, 1 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 290 yards. The 2 interceptions came because guys were diving on the ball. They were tough plays to make. But to have the ball go off their hands and get intercepted, those are bad bounces. It's a tough break. Like you said, the drops by Fannin and Judy on 3rd and 4th down when the Browns were driving, that ended in it was a turnover on downs. We don't know if they would have scored, if they would have kicked a field goal. We really don't know.
But we did have good momentum that drive.
Absolutely. We had momentum all day long. The Browns... Cincinnati comes out and takes a 7.5-minute drive and takes the lead on the Browns early, 7-0. The Browns answered back. Sure. Did Cincinnati help aid us in that with some penalties? And we ultimately we fought, scratched, tooth and nail to get that ball in the end zone. And finally, we got a touchdown by Sanders, not Shador, Rocket Sanders. I mean, kind of crazy stuff there. Dylan Sampson, hell of a game. Hell of a game. Amazingly enough, though, all of his biggest asset was not on the ground. He had 29 yards rushing. That's it on 12 carries. We were terrible rushing the ball. It was his plays in the passing game, which were so vital. And he did an excellent job. Fannin with the 1 drop was crucial. Judy with the drop, that was crucial. I mean, and then, of course, the first interception went off of his hands. The second one was off of Tillman's hands. And Tillman even had a good game. So here's what I'm saying. First of all, tomorrow morning, actually tonight, they need to tell Andre Schmidt to pick up his things and head to the unemployment line because he clearly is not the guy. You cannot do this. I remember the year that we went 0-16, we had kickers who were missing kicks at the end of games. I specifically remember losing to the Jets at home because of missed kicks. And it's just, you can't have that. You can't have that. Now, what I want to say, and you tell me if I am off base here, sir, for the people who say that Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat after this, are you out of your mind? Are you absolutely out of your mind? Is that
a bunch of malarkey there? No, that's a bunch of malarkey.
Like, how is he? What is he supposed to do? They designed a game plan to keep Cincinnati's offense off the field. And they did that successfully. They controlled possession. I looked at the number of offensive plays. It looks like we had 69 to their 45. We did exactly what we needed to do. The defense played beautifully. I'd say other than the first drive, they did a fantastic job all day long. They were on Joe Burrow, especially toward the end there. The Browns had it in the bag. The Browns beat the Browns today. But you can't tell me that's Kevin Stefanski's fault and he needs to be fired. Go. Give me a break here, guys. This is crazy. And if you're going to be that negative, I don't know how you can be a fan of this team. How much have we been through? How can you possibly still watch them if you're that negative of a person? I mean, I'm negative. I'm probably the most negative person I know. I'm sure you can attest to that, Jacob. I'm pretty negative around this house, aren't I?
Yep. Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. I like your candor. I like your honesty. But at the same time, in my negativity, there's also a reality check.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality of it is here that the Browns did what they needed to do to win today's game. And it came down to the reason the Browns are a bad team is because of the mistakes that happened today. You can't drop passes. You can't tip balls for interceptions. You can't miss kicks. You have to create turnovers. We didn't do all those things happened, and we lost by 1 point. So, for the people who say Browns are going 0-6 in the first 6 weeks, come on. Like, you think we're that bad? Hey, you know who looked bad today? The Miami Dolphins.
They looked horrible.
The Miami Dolphins looked horrible.
Against the Daniel Jones-led Colts.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Are the Colts that good, or are the Dolphins that bad? I think it's more so the Dolphins are pretty darn bad. I don't think the Colts are that good. You want to talk about a coach that might be on the hot seat? I think Mike McDonald's on the hot seat.
Yeah,
I think he's clearly on the hot seat. And I mean, Carolina, they stink. That you know what else we should be upset about today? Carolina. What are they doing? Like, we need Carolina to beat Jacksonville. We need Jacksonville to be awful. We've got their first-round pick. I think that overall, the game plan was good. What did you think? Now, we talked about Dylan Sampson and doing most of his damage in the passing game. Right, in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome Ford, we got an issue.
Yeah.
I think he is literally... You may not know this. This is an oldie but a goodie, and I hope someone might be listening, might have a comment here. But Ford, the automotive manufacturer, a lot of people, they felt the quality was not good, and the acronym was fixed or repaired daily or found on road dead. And I'm sorry, but I've got issue with Jerome Ford.
6 for 8 is not good.
I mean, it's terrible. We had
his longest run was for 2 yards.
Right. He can't hit a hole, and he can't shed a tackle.
Yeah, he just especially with the emergence of Dylan Sampson, had the most receptions on the Browns. Had 8 receptions, one more than Fannon's 7. And he was so much better. And once Quinshawn comes back, Jerome Ford's taking a back seat.
He's going to be in the back seat of a Pinto, which gas tank will be on fire because that's what Ford Pintos did. This is crazy, guys. We have to look at the positives here. It was a crap loss, right? It was a crap loss. Does it suck? I'm not going to hang my head over this loss. Last year, were you more upset last year when the Browns went out and they got the doors blown off them by the Cowboys?
100%.
They looked they didn't even look like a professional football team. Guys, if you also remember, for those of you who want to talk about Stefanski on the hot seat, does anybody, Jacob, you may not remember this. Kevin Stefanski's first game as head coach of the Cleveland Browns was in Baltimore, and we got destroyed. And you know what happened that year? Browns made the playoffs.
That was 2020.
And won a game in the playoffs. Yeah. So that you think this was worse than that? I'm sorry. I just feel like the overreaction here of people is out of line. It's completely out of line, guys. Let's wake up and smell the coffee and not panic.
Yep. And the defense didn't play bad either. Only let up 17 points. We had 4 points off of missed field goals. Had the 2 drops on a turnover on downs that could have led to at minimum 3. So that's 7 points off of 7 missed points. We would have won this game. And Schlesinger 8 tackles, Bush 7, McGuire 6, Garrett 5, Hickman 5, and 2 sacks for Garrett, 1 from McGuire. this was not a bad defensive. The first drive was not the best
No, we
indicator.
allowed them to get some conversions.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't look great. And I do apologize, folks, a little under the weather. And now I'm all fired up and it's causing my cold to kick in. And we can blame that on the germs that people bring home from school. I won't name any names here. But no, I'm sorry. This was not as bad as people want to make it out to be because everyone wants to turn to the only in Cleveland card and the Browns are the Browns, right?
Yep.
And to an extent, I understand and I agree because the losing culture has been it's been built over time and it takes something special to break that culture and to bring about winning. But you know what? I think this team has the right pieces. We're not going to be terrible. For those of you who thought this was going to be a 3-win team, I think that's a terrible take. For those of you who thought
Especially when we have the Dolphins on the schedule who are looking bad. What other bad teams do we have on the schedule? We
we've
have
got the
the
Dolphins.
Patriots. Patriots are on the schedule.
Yep. Dolphins, Patriots. I believe so. The Jets are on the schedule and they may be bad. They may be good. I really think that we're not as bad as everybody thinks here. And it's so I think this is just this is problematic that or I should say more of an issue of Browns fans defaulting to the worst case scenario. And I think there's some winnable games on the schedule. There's also going to be some games that people think we're going to lose that we're going to win. We're going to London to play against the Vikings. They've got a first-year quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. I know it's a second season, but he didn't play last year. So who's to say they're going to be the same team that they were with Sam Darnold, where they won, 14 games last year, Jacob?
Came
13, 14,
second.
whatever it was. They had a phenomenal season. So I think that there's a lot of good things to take out of today's game. It did not turn out the way that we all would have liked, but I don't see it in as negative a light as some people do. What did you think of Cedric Tillman as a whole? He was pretty good. 5 catches, 52 yards, and he did have a touchdown. I think that we have some building blocks. Building blocks. And, what I think we want to do here, Jacob, I want you to take a look here. Tell everyone around what the scoreboard is looking like. I need to grab a sip of water. Let's talk about some of your surprises. What's going on around the league right now? What has already gone final? And I will be back in a moment. Thank you for holding it down, Jacob.
All right. Let's see. What do we got here? So, first of all, the Dolphins were surprisingly horrible. They got blown out by a Colts team led by Daniel Jones. We had discussed that earlier. Having some trouble here. Big rain delay in Jacksonville. That was crazy. 2 in 1 week. We had the one earlier in, I believe it was in the season opener. So it's like, all right, let's get here. What do we got here? Games that have finished. Buccaneers barely squeeze it out over the Falcons, a 3-point win.
And how much are we going to hear about from people who are Baker bros about how much the Browns screwed up because Baker Mayfield led a drive to win that late in the game with a touchdown pass to former Ohio State Buckeye receiver, rookie Emeka Egbuka. And a shout out here, to Terry Bradshaw, who can't pronounce his name right. During the highlights at halftime, Emeka Egbuka. You have one job. And you can't do it well. Why does he have a job anymore? Can anybody explain this to me? I find it incredible about that. So where are you at, Jacob? Were there any surprises?
I was talking about, I went back over the Dolphins and Colts.
Oh, that was brutal.
Just talked.
Dolphins Colts there. Okay.
Just got done with the Bucks Falcons.
Okay, and Pittsburgh, they get a big win. They get a big win over the Jets. You had a matchup there where you have this quarterback swapping places. You have Aaron Rodgers going from New York to Pittsburgh, and Justin Fields from Pittsburgh to New York. They wasn't a trade, but they end up, it's swapping places there. And I felt like Aaron Rodgers was not as bad as people made him out to be. He was not glue factory even last year.
Yeah.
Sure, he's not the same guy that he was, but he can still operate an offense. And so Browns fans who thought that the Steelers sucked, I got news for you. They're still going to be pretty good. They're still going to be pretty good, and I hope that you will put some respect on them because it's just the way it is, right? As much as you want to complain about the Browns and everything they do, being wrong, being a miss, everything like that, well, I guess you got to say the opposite of the Steelers, right? It's just one of those things. So then the Giants, they lose 21-6 to the Commanders. I'm surprised that it was that close, to be quite frank. I don't think too highly of the Giants. They stink. They really stink. And I think that Arizona beating New Orleans 20-13, a good win for Arizona, I suppose. New Orleans is really bad, but they held their own. I'd be thinking that Arizona is going to be in some trouble themselves. The Raiders with the road win over the Patriots 20-13. I feel like that's not unexpected. I feel like that's not unexpected that the Patriots are not going to be good. As you mentioned, Jacob, they're on our schedule. So guys, there's a lot of football left to be played. This is only week 1.
Yeah.
We got 16 games left. Is this going to be the way it is after every play and every game? And if so, I don't know what to tell you, because it's a long road ahead. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Now, Jacob, you're going to have some problems here because you have a teacher who's a Cincinnati guy. You gave the bold prediction that the Browns were going to take this game. Were there any friendly wagers there? Will you be getting extra homework? Yeah, there were. You will be getting extra homework? No? There's a shaking of the head?
No wagers.
Okay, good. We don't want any gambling in school.
No wagers.
Okay, that's important. We don't want any wagers. We don't want anyone getting in trouble in school. But I think that you might have to hide the Browns gear for a day. I think that's the moratorium on it. You got to go.
Got to go with the Ohio State gear instead.
And that's an excellent choice. With the whooping they put on Grambling State, as they should have, that was fantastic. And then you look at the Michigan loss, and you're like, okay, good. And let me throw this out there, Jacob, because as much as we're talking a little bit of Browns here, post-game Browns, last night Michigan loses at Oklahoma. And I see some Ohio State fans out there trying to dance on their grave. Well, you know what? We tried to dance on their grave. Ohio State fan did last year, all throughout the season.
Yep.
And then they went into Columbus and they beat the Buckeyes. Ultimately, the Buckeyes won the national championship, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. Yep. But maybe learn a lesson here. Maybe learn a lesson that getting, so far ahead of yourselves and trying to celebrate their losses is such a big deal. Can we just calm down? It'd be like as if we saw the Steelers lose today and we were all celebrating that, or so. We've done this before.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's bad juju, bad karma here. So I don't know if there's much else that I've got to say here. I think that when Quinshon Judkins comes back, I believe that he will ultimately be more so the power back. Maybe he's going to be the bell cow.
Yeah, power back bell cow. I agree.
Dylan Sampson's going to be the guy who's going to come in and give him a spell. And Jerome Ford is going to be a third down back or situational. He's not going to get much action.
He is a good I will say he is a good pass blocker. He can do that.
But I would also venture to say Quinshon Judkins had to be a very good pass blocker last year for Ohio State, and he was. So I feel like he can do that, and he's got much better size than Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson can catch the rock, and he can make some people miss. I want to see more Isaiah Bond. I want to see him get involved more. I could see where maybe there's some discussion again about the play. You could question the play calling, but I really think it was a masterful game plan.
Everything was out of the coaching's hand. There was
Yeah,
nothing the coaches could have done to have us win the game at
nope,
how it went out.
nope. I agree. I'm sorry to kind of poo poo all the people who want to be angry and raging and yelling about firing the coach,
Mhm.
um, and firing the GM, but I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that. Now, let me ask you this in a quick GM move. What do you think? Since everyone hates Andrew Berry and we couldn't find a kicker, maybe we should just wait till week 10 when Justin Tucker is done being suspended and bring him in, right? We have a good track record with guys with, sketchy history, sketchy charges against them, right?
Yeah, we sure do.
We sure do. Yeah, no, that's not a good idea there. I don't know what they're going to do, though. I will be very, very curious. I have to imagine that somebody is going to get brought in this week to challenge for that kicking job. Will they bring
Yeah,
Dustin Hopkins back?
I don't think so. They already cut him. I don't see why you would bring him back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Nothing.
I know. Greg Zerline. He's a free agent.
Okay.
That's just one of the first ones to come off the top of my head.
Right. I can't see continuing to give Schmidt any more opportunities. I feel like he's
I
got
feel
his
like
confidence has to be blown.
yeah. I feel
He
like
lost the game.
yeah. But I think you might give him next week. At most, you give him next week.
Yeah, but I can't see it beyond that. We cannot have this. It's an easy replacement if in my book. I feel like we
Yeah.
can find somebody. Can we get is Craig Joseph available? We've had plenty of kickers in Cleveland that have got to be sitting around. We've tried a lot of them over the years that have been terrible. Hey, what about Cade York? Maybe we could bring him back for a 50th time. He stinks pretty bad. Um,
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of positives from today to take away.
Mhm.
Defensively, they did a masterful job. Um, maybe sans the one drive, the opening drive of the game, but really, other than
Yeah.
that, they did a fantastic job. And
Yeah.
they held Joe Burrow in check. They held
Mhm.
a vaunted offense, and we lost the game. We blew it. We blew it,
Yep.
and they need to know that. They need to own it. And I think that's what Coach Stefanski, and we got to own this. We got to own it, and we got to be better. We got to coach better. We got to do better.
Yep.
What do you got in the? So let's just real quick here to close it out. What do you think about the late games we've got going on? Any predictions there? We've got Detroit, Green
All right.
Bay, Tennessee, Denver, San Fran, Seattle, Houston, the Rams, and then the night game is Dallas, or I'm sorry, Baltimore at Buffalo.
Yep.
And what do we have? We have a Monday night. Do we have any Monday night games? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Minnesota and Chicago. Any thoughts on
Yep.
these games? Are you looking forward to tonight's game?
Um, I'll go one by one. Titans
All right.
Broncos. Right now it's at 3-3.
All
So
right.
with Titans with the ball at the Denver 49. So
Wow.
maybe Cam Ward's better than we think.
It's
Um,
possible.
yeah,
It is possible.
Niners at Seahawks tied 7-7. Seahawks inside of San Fran's 20. So I think that's going to be a good division game. Packers currently leading the Lions 7-0. That's definitely my highlight for the 4 o'clock slate.
I believe you are. I'm right there with you.
Yep. Texans Rams still scoreless. Texans with the ball. I think this is a tough one to decide on. Rams are at home, so I do have them favored.
All right, you got them on, picked. But what do you think about tonight's game? The ball.
Tonight's game is gonna be. I think this is the buildup of the week's been building up to this game right here. I
Okay,
think this.
even more than you think. Well, I guess Dallas and Philly wasn't as big of a matchup, and the Chiefs. So yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I think that is that. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I defer to you on that. Excellent point.
Yeah, this is. I think this is gonna be an offensive shootout. This is going to be a great game. If assuming this is a close game, whichever team loses has nothing to worry about.
No, definitely
Unless
not.
someone gets blown out, then I don't believe any of these teams have anything to worry about. Whether they start 1-0 or 0-1, as long as it's not a blowout.
All right, even if it is, I don't think it's still a problem one way or the other. The biggest thing for me, I think, is health. Now, let me ask you this
Yep.
philosophically: do you want to see Baltimore win or lose before heading
Um.
into next week's home opener against the Browns?
See. I want to see him. I want to see him lose.
I mean, I guess in all honesty, I got to root for them to lose, but
Yeah.
because I think it's going to be a very difficult game either way. And so I don't think if they are 1-0 or 0-1, it's going to make any difference. They're going to be
Yep.
ready to dance on Cleveland's grave next week. So, folks, do not let that get out of sight. Next week, the Baltimore Ravens will host the Cleveland Browns in their home opener, week number 2. They are going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Baltimore Ravens and all of their their 2 Super Bowl championships. And they're dancing on the graves of the Cleveland Browns. And it's just disrespectful. They don't make the schedule, but could they not have changed the week they did that because it's kind of messed up. That's all I'm saying.
Disrespectful. You know what? We lost this game so that we could win that one.
All right. That's a fair. I could see it. Look, we won in Baltimore a few years ago when we had no business winning there. Stefanski has won a couple of times there. I mean, amazingly enough. And so I'm not going to count them out of the game at this point because they do generally do a pretty decent job against Lamar Jackson. I want to hear Carson Schwarzenegger's name a little bit more. I mean, he did lead the team in tackles.
He led the team in tackles.
It just seemed like
he had a TFL.
Right, and we didn't have a lot of impact plays defense other than the sacks.
Other than the 3 consecutive sacks.
Right, and those were amazing. It just seemed like we didn't have a lot other than that, but that's okay. That is all right.
If you look at the breakdown of the stats, Schlesinger had the most tackles and he had a TFL. I think it wasn't much flashy. Not a lot of flashy plays outside of the sacks.
Right,
but it was just a lot of good, solid tackling.
Yeah, and quite frankly, credit where credit is due for Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome.
Mm-hmm.
They did a very nice job on the outside. Greg did get one PI that led
one penalty, but you could argue it.
Yeah, it was ultimately pretty darn good. So I think that all in all, again, they did pretty well.
Yeah,
it's a tough loss, but guys, it's game 1 of 17. Can we stop with the crazy overreactions about this franchise, the coaches, and being so negative?
And we play this team again.
We do. We at the last week of the season.
Yep.
We played them the last
and they
week.
Could be a drastically different team.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100% there. So, guys, I appreciate you letting me yell, and Jacob for you joining.
Yep.
And I think that's going to do it here. So tough loss in week 1. And a cold preventing me from talking. But the Cleveland Browns drop a tough one here to the Bengals. Yep. And I do apologize for that. So, for Jacob Greenberg, I'm Ethan Greenberg, and you've been tuned in to Going nuCLEar, full-blown coverage of the land. Post-game reaction, week 1 loss, Cleveland Browns lose to the Bengals. And stay tuned for more great programming, Going nuCLEar, and also part of the Fanatical Elves Network. Thank you again, Jacob. And until next time, we'll see ya.